Hospice of the Upstate and Rainey Hospice House bereavement counselors, Christy Rogers and Brooke Tavernier, tell us about their grief support groups and their grief camps for children.
I want to let you introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about your role and your experience in grief care.
I'll go ahead. I'm Christy Rogers. I'm one of the two bereavement coordinators. Brooke is the other at Hospice of the Upstate, Rainey Hospice House, and Upstate Palliative Care. We are based, our main campus is in Anderson, and we have a satellite office in Greenville.
Yes. Thank you.
And I've been a bereavement coordinator for 11 years now.
Wonderful.
I also serve the Upstate area by seeing hospice families as well as members of the community.
On your website, you have a page dedicated to grief and bereavement support. I was curious also about the Sadler Bereavement Education Center. Is it connected with the Hospice of the Upstate or Rainey Hospice House, or is it independent from those?
It is connected with Hospice of the Upstate, Rainey Hospice House. It is our education center. We have a conference room with a catering kitchen. We have a parlor type room where we hold our groups, and there are also different offices in that building. Brooke and I each have an office in the building that is private for our counseling services. And we have a children's room in the building that we are able to have various kind of therapy tools and toys and things like that we work with our kids with.
Oh, that's
and it's open. We do offer that as a resource for the community. There is a fee to use the building, but it is open to the community.
It's a wonderful resource for the Anderson community in the Upstate.
Yes.
Christy, do you primarily work in the community, or do you work at the hospice house specifically?
We service our hospice families, of course, but our services are open to anyone in the community who has experienced a loss. We see people across the lifespan, adults, older adults, young adults, and children.
The services that you provide, I've always been thankful for hospices that provide services to families that are not necessarily patients or have someone in their family that is a patient to receive those services. Who supports you? How do you do that?
We have some grants that support our program, particularly some of our children's programming. And then sometimes people make donations to hospice in memory of someone. I think some of that money goes toward our bereavement services. And I'm not sure if you're aware of all the ins and outs, but Medicare requires that each hospice program offer bereavement services for 13 months after the death of a loved one. And so we do that, but we also have opened that up into the community. And so we do service anyone who needs grief support.
And you have support groups for both children and adults. Can you tell me a little bit about those support groups?
I will mention we have on Wednesday mornings, we have a support group for people who have lost a spouse. That group is one of the more interesting groups I've ever led. The individuals are very supportive. It's a very good group. They check on each other after the group is over during the week. And we welcome anyone who has lost a spouse to that group. We meet at 10 o'clock every Wednesday in the Sadler building at the Hospice House in Anderson.
How does someone get to come to that? Do they call you or email you?
Either one. They can call or email. I think our number and both mine and Brooke's email is on the website. Or you can just show up at 10 o'clock on Wednesday. You don't have to call and schedule anything. We love to see anyone who needs the services there. And you do not have to have been a part of our hospice. It's open to the community and it's free of charge.
Is it an open-ended group, or do you have certain time periods that you lead that group?
It is an open-ended group.
Yes.
People kind of come and go as they need to.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit loosey-goosey the way that I run that one. We don't necessarily have a topic every week, but someone always has something that they want to talk about each week. So we don't do a lot of sitting there looking at each other. We do a lot of talking. There's also a lot of laughter, which throws people off a little in the beginning. But we need laughter in our grief as well.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing for people to realize, Christy, that laughter can be part of the healing process.
Yes.
For people that have gone through some really difficult times emotionally and spiritually. And you find a lot of people that may be surprised about that whenever they come.
And I'm going to let Brooke talk about our children's groups and the group that she leads.
Okay.
Yes, so I also lead an adult support group as well. We are of the Upstate at the Sadler Bereavement Center, and it is a child loss support group. So anyone who has lost a child can come to the support group. We meet every Tuesday evening at 5. Then you can call ahead to let us know you're coming. That's fine. If you have any questions or need any kind of directions, of course, call, but you can just show up like Christy said as well. So yep, you can come if you'd like. You can be a community member. It does not have to be for hospice families. So we have some young adults in there that have lost children at a young age. We also have older adults in there that have lost middle-aged children as well. So it's kind of in there. So yeah, those are every week on Tuesdays at 5. And then with switching gears a little bit with the children and adolescent groups, those are ran during the school year at the children's individual schools. So those are actually within the Upstate. We do have to have permission to go into the school buildings. And so what I do is I work closely with the school guidance counselors, and they identify children throughout the school that have lost a loved one that might benefit from group. So group there is a little bit different than our adult support groups. So they do have a start and end date with those. They're about 6 to 8 weeks in length. And we do follow more of a curriculum with that. We do have a topic each week that I go in. And really mainly because children have a harder time verbalizing their grief. So what I do is I kind of focus more at the beginning on education on what grief is, how to identify emotions, how grief is not just emotionally, but it's also physically. And then we also want to offer a safe space for them at school. And then for them to be able to know they're not alone. So grief is a normalized process. So we'd like to have them with peers, especially since peers are such a bit important part of their life at that time period, especially for our middle schoolers and high schoolers. So just having a sense of normalcy and that they're not alone. So the overall goal is not to get over their grief. It's to actually learn how to build support within their community, see that it's a normal part of life and they're not alone, and also how they can continue their bonds with their loved one.
Curious about how children and adult support groups may differ, and you shared some of that. For example, it's harder maybe for the children and adolescents to verbalize their grief, and so you use things like art or other activities to help them express that. You also sponsor an annual grief support camp for children, and I think that's a wonderful resource for the community. Could you tell us more about the camps that you have for the children?
Yes, so we offer a day camp. So it's called Camp Hope. We have done one usually in the spring, and we are trying to hold another in the fall in the Greenville area. So we will provide just for travel and location, trying to offer one in the Anderson area in the spring and then one in the Greenville area in the fall. We just had our Anderson camp this past June. And really what our camp is, it's really similar to our grief groups in the school setting. That's over the 6 to 8 weeks. We kind of take that curriculum and we put it into the day camp. So camp is about anywhere between 7 to 8 hours long. We do provide snacks and lunch. Camp is free of charge. And how they can express their grief and emotions just through play, through social supports, through activities. We have arts and crafts. We make flower pots. We actually plant flowers. So we tie-dye t-shirts this year. We have music. We've had a drum circle before. So really different ways that you can learn to laugh, especially like Christy said before, teaching that we can grieve, but also have fun at the same time. So camp is sometimes the kids' first time of being able to experience something fun when they actually are talking about their loved one since they're passing. So it kind of instills that hope again that they can have their grief, but also they can have joy too. And we do end now with a butterfly release, which the kids seem to like as more of a remembrance at their.
What's a butterfly release?
So each child will get a butterfly. And so kind of like a balloon release that you do in honor of your loved one, they're actually given a live butterfly. And we are able to release those out in our garden, out at the hospice house near our fountain. So the kids really enjoy that.
How does someone apply to go to the children's grief camp?
So all they have to do is call Hospice of the Upstate. They can also email us. And what we'll do is we will get them our registration form that they'll fill out. And that's it. So it's free of charge. You just have to have lost a loved one. You do not have to have any hospice affiliation. It's open to the community. It is for children 6 years of age to 12 years of age, just with the curriculum that we teach. Developmentally, it's more geared for the age group. But if anyone has any questions or concerns there, they can come and ask or call. But yep.
Can you tell me again the age span for
6 years to 12 years?
6 to 12.
I mentioned too that for the last several years, our camp and part of our children's program has been sponsored by the Dabo Foundation. So that's one of the grants that we receive that mainly runs our children's program.
What foundation is that again?
The Dabo Foundation.
As in Dabo Sweeney
As in Dabo Sweeney with Clemson, yes.
Whenever you have children coming to camp or support groups, are there ways that you help their parents during those times as well to be engaged with the child or the adolescent?
So first with the school groups or individual counseling with children, we do offer that here at Hospice as well. We have a room that we do play therapy in. So all children that we do counseling with have to have consent from parents. And also have children who come to camp and they meet us and they experience camp and their parents or caregivers feel like that they could use more of counseling in the future. So we actually do set up counseling after camp has ended, and we're able to provide more support to those families that will. So we just continue counseling with families after camp ends.
The counseling that you provide, it's there at Hospice of the Upstate? Or do you refer them to
yes,
in the community?
So I provide counseling at Hospice of the Upstate, but I also go into the schools, depends on their schedule and what's best for the caregivers.
And I'll add that we are very kind of specific in the counseling services that we provide. We do only grief counseling and support. So
Right.
if someone comes with a problem that is beyond the scope of our practice at Hospice of the Upstate, then we do refer them to counselors in the community. I'll mention also that both Brooke and I are licensed counselors for the state of South Carolina. So, we do have that ability, but if it's beyond the scope of our practice there at Hospice, then we refer out. And I see people in the Anderson office, and we have a satellite office in Greenville, and I also see people in our Greenville office. And Brooke has started doing that as well.
Where's the office located in Greenville, Christy?
It is 225 Halton Road, right across from the new Public Safety Center in Florida Annual area, right behind the mall.
Any other insights about bereavement or grief that you've learned over the years in your experience that you want to share with people?
Mainly it's kind of to recognize it as a national part of life, trying to increase. I feel like the awareness of talking more, about grief and dying, and just validating someone. And we're not broken. It's just we need support to get through life and get through these challenges. So I think that's really it, is kind of really trying to normalize the process and support in the community.
And I agree with that. I think the biggest thing that we do is normalize the grief process. And we also provide tools for coping skills to help people walk through that journey. We can't carry someone's grief for them, but we can walk alongside them as they learn how to manage that and carry that with them.
Thank you both so much for sharing about the grief services that you provide to the community. They're invaluable, and also your experience with grief is so important because as the director of grief resources and education here, I really depend on folks like you in the community to support families and loved ones of the people we care for, but others throughout the upstate who are in great need of bereavement support. So thank you so much.